Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
How could you do what he did
in Afghanistan
and just leave Americans behind and our allies behind?
What the hell happened so quickly to the United States of America?
Biden has no plan.
We believed that the government was not going to collapse.
What was our intelligence? What did the military advise the president?
We obviously have a lot of questions to ask.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. Tom and Benny and Clark and you, and we'll get to the craziness over in Afghanistan. There's no shortage. Oh, my, no shortage. But there are two stories that we've got to cover that are statewide stories, and both these stories deal with different bills that the state legislature is considering, and it looks like they will likely pass. And the response to these bills, in both cases, is really bizarre. One of the bills actually made national news. Fox reported on this the end of last week. The ACLU and activists are slamming a North Carolina anti-rioting bill that would increase penalties for rioting or looting as racist and anti-Black Lives Matter. Now, first of all, if the ACLU is against it, it must be a pretty good bill. I mean, right?
Yeah, they only support rights that they agree with.
The bill, HB 805, is racist. It's anti-Black Lives Matter, says Dawn Blaglove, an activist member of Emancipate North Carolina. House Bill 805 was sponsored by the Republican North Carolina Speaker of the House, Tim Moore, after Raleigh and Charlotte both. In fact, Greenville saw riots last summer. Under the bill, people will be charged with a felony for causing significant property damage, seriously bodily harm, or assaulting emergency personnel during riots. It's hard for me to believe that this is not already a felony.
Yeah, it should be. I don't.
I mean, obviously, it's a crime. Last I checked, it's against the law to burn somebody else's house or business down.
Which my response to say anything that's anti-Black Lives Matter, then good.
Yeah.
Then good. It means it's anti-Marxist.
Yeah.
So,
like so many other North Carolinians, I saw destruction that happened last year. This is from Tim Moore. And the bill is now heading for the Senate after passing the House. Critics of the bill are now lambasting the bill as racist, saying it would unfairly target black people. Now, listen to what they just said. Listen to what these.
I know where you're
First
going.
of all, this is a racist statement.
Exactly.
I mean, in essence, they're saying, wait a minute. If you've got a bill that's saying it's going to be a felony to riot, to harm people, to hurt people, to burn other people's property down, then, only blacks do that, right? So that's a racist bill. What a racist statement.
You can't make that up.
You can't make it up. You talk about blatantly racist.
I wonder if somebody with this group said, you realize what we just said?
Apparently not. Apparently there's, I think it's something in the water that the Democrats drink. I mean, this is the kind of stupidity that we're seeing coming out of the White House. I mean, a different subject, different issue, but just as stupid.
Well, blind tribalism makes you say and do stupid things, and that's just pure blind tribalism is all it is.
Corinne Pittman with Emancipate North Carolina said when North Carolina State University won championships and individuals took to the streets and things were damaged, you didn't see a bill like this coming out, but you did see people in some cases arrested. Mm-hmm. But you know what might be a better comparison, a more interesting comparison, is how liberals wanted to lock up anybody that was even present at the United States Capitol last January 6th.
Yeah, anyone that bought gas in Washington, D.C. got investigated by the FBI on that day.
Anyway, this is bizarre. So that's one of the bills that I'm talking about. This is House Bill 805, which basically just, and again, I'm surprised we have to have this bill. It would seem to me that if you do somebody harm or if you interfere with a emergency personnel or you burn somebody's business down, I would think that means you're going to go to jail, and it ought to be a felony if it's not.
Well, something you mentioned, talked about last summer, Raleigh, Charlotte, you mentioned Greenville. The difference in Greenville was the fact that Greenville had one night basically of little bit of
People
trouble,
were bussed in,
but and
put the pallets of bricks out.
They tore up some police cars, tore up some businesses downtown. But Greenville's mayor P.J. Connolly had a show of force immediately, and not another evening did it happen, and it went on for a month or more downtown Raleigh and Charlotte, and that's the difference between a mayor that believes in the rule of law, regardless of who's quote protesting, and it's not a protest when you start damaging property. But in Charlotte and Raleigh and all these places with Democrat mayors, you see what happened. It went on for days and days and days.
Yep. They just let it.
Good for P.J. Connolly.
Agreed. By the way, Governor DeSantis down in Florida has led their state legislature in a very similar anti-rioting bill. Interestingly, Governor Cooper did not return phone calls concerning this bill, saying it needs further review.
Cooper's just waiting for his veto pen for a budget. That's all he cares about.
So the second bill, and this is just as bizarre, and frankly the statement is just as racist, coming from a black liberal. The second bill is Senate Bill 473. And just looking at the overview of the bill, it would require the state auditor to notify the local government commission when an audit report is the result of an investigation of a unit of local government. It would allow the commission, following the release of the investigative report, to be involved in that local government's audit process for up to 3 years. It would require a local finance officer to garnish a board or council member's compensation in order to collect monies owed for unpaid county and city services. It would create a new felony offense for public officers and employees who personally benefit financially from their position. Basically, this is a bill to counter what we have seen happen in a lot of small towns throughout North Carolina and a lot of small towns throughout eastern North Carolina. We've seen it up in Rocky Mount on 2 different occasions. One was the superintendent of the schools. The other was, I think, a council member. Mm-hmm. But there have been other numerous small towns. I mean, the town of Princeville has been in a constant situation of malfeasance.
Yeah, if something isn't going on there, it's just because they didn't get audited that year. I mean, essentially.
Or there was no money left in the coffers. There's nothing left to steal. I'm sorry. But anyway, in response to this Senate Bill 473, the Kinston mayor, Don Hardy, or Don Terrio Hardy.
He goes by Don when he campaigns. He goes by Don Terrio when he sends something to black people. I just, this email I'm reading here, he signs it. He signs it as the Black Voters Manor Fund, Don Terrio Hardy. But when he runs,
why didn't he sign it as the mayor of Kinston?
Well, there might be something against that. I don't know. It might be something illegal. I don't know.
But again, this guy, Don Terrio Hardy, with the Black Voters Matter Fund and also the Kinston mayor, writes, "Dear Representative," I guess he's writing to members of the House and the Senate, "Senate Bill 473 is another blatant attempt to cripple black leadership and to ultimately dismiss the power of black voters currently. There is a black majority on the Rocky Mount City Council, along with a black majority of the Edgecombe County Commissioners, and the second appointed black city manager. The key finding of the Rocky Mount investigation that inspired SB 473, a $47,000 utility debt over 20 years, equates to 0.02% of the entire city budget, while the audit itself cost Rocky Mount taxpayers 9 times that amount, $428,000 in 169 days. The attack is directly sourced as conspired by white supremacists." So people that want accountability are white supremacists. The bill automatically criminalizes any finding in investigative audits with penalty of personal liability and jail time. Yeah, we want you to pay back what you stole. You're going to jail for stealing. What is hard? I mean, again, last time I checked, that was pretty much a common sense situation. SB 473 requires the auditor to alert the local government commission of all its published reports, then enables them to control the city audit process for 3 years at the expense of the investigated city. Clearly, this bill not only affects majority black and brown-led towns and cities. Furthermore, SB 473 ignores decades of discriminatory budgeting, spending, and concentrated efforts to maintain racist voting systems. The bill also threatens current and future minority leadership with felonies and fines for mistakes and mistakes. Mistakes and action. So the mistake of embezzling $47,000 over 20 years, that was a mistake.
Yeah, and he talks about, this equates to 0.02% of the entire city budget. So what you're saying is a little bit of stealing and a little bit of fraud is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And it costs the taxpayers $428,000, which I'd like to see that number to do the audit. I'd really like to see how that's backed up. But you know what? Don't steal the dang money and pay your freaking bill, and we wouldn't have been here in the first place.
Thank you. But again, here is a bill, both these bills, you've got the Senate Bill 473 and you've got HB 805. Neither of the bills say anything about race. It just says if you steal, it's a crime. If you burn somebody's house or business down, it's a crime. If you beat somebody up, it's a crime. If you interfered with emergency services, it's a crime. If you steal from the city government, it's a crime. If you misuse your credit cards, if you're the school superintendent and you spend thousands and thousands of dollars on your personal goodies for yourself and your wife, it's a crime. And in both cases, you have liberal blacks coming out and saying, well, that's anti-black. I mean, and again, if you're one of our black conservative listeners out there or a black liberal listener, you ought to be outraged. You ought to be saying, what are you saying? How dare you come up and not insinuate, come right out and say, oh, well, I guess if there are crimes being done, if there's embezzlement going on, it must be someone that's an anti-black bill, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and at the time when Beth Wood's report came out on the city of Rocky Mount, I read the audit report, and but it's been a while. But one thing I know she pointed out, because I mean I know Beth Wood. I've known her for a long time, and I know how important it is as an accountant myself. The fact of the matter that it's $47,000 utility bill is not. Yeah, that's not a big deal. But the fact that
it is a big deal.
But the fact that a system exists when a mayor can tell someone that works for the city to, hey, I'm not going to pay this bill and don't do anything about it. It could be more than $47,000 there.
What else is going
on? It could be $500,000.
What else is going on?
If the system's in place, that kind of thing will happen.
And so when does it actually matter? If it's 1%, does it matter? Hey, it's only 10% of the city budget. What does it matter?
And for them to come out, and the guy at Rocky Mount to come out, and other people come out and call Beth Wood essentially a racist, over
white supremacist, because she can add up the numbers.
I've known Beth Wood for over 30 years, and Beth Wood will go after you if you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or whatever. She is there to do her job.
Blue, white, whatever
it don't matter.
And again, the liberals have taken this white supremacy so far out, they have lost. I mean, they lost credibility with me decades ago, literally. I mean, I have said since this program started, if you're going to allow someone that calls you a racist, if you're so insecure in who you are, and somebody's saying, oh, he's a racist, oh, she's a racist, and that's going to shake you up, you better get some thicker skin. But for these liberals to constantly be using the race card, constantly, so somebody commits murder. Well, if you're trying to try him, then you're a racist, right? But
yeah, I don't want to blame these liberals for using this to try to further divide people. I also blame people in corporate and institutional America for not having the guts to stand up to this nonsense and say, I don't give a dang if you label me a white supremacist. That shows just how stupid you are.
Yep.
What's right is right.
Yep. Hey, real quickly, as we go into break, North Carolina General Assembly has completed another phase in the 21-22 budget. And right now they have, the Senate has voted to not concur with the House. That's not saying they're in disagreement with the principles of the House, but in the details, they need to come to some sort of reconciliation between the House and the Senate. And Jim Perry, Senator Jim Perry, who was with us on the phone last week talking about the budget, he is basically going to be on the Budget Conference Committee. So he's going to be one of the key players to straighten the budget out between the House and the Senate. Which I think they'll be able to do that pretty easy. Now, getting Governor Cooper happy might be a little tougher uphill climb, but we'll see where that goes. We're going to take a time out. Lots more to talk about, including the craziness in Washington over Afghanistan. It is bizarre. We'll deal with that when we get back.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Passalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's what the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Top Dog Academy is Eastern North Carolina's complete dog training facility. Top Dog provides an excellent environment for dogs of all ages with training services and work week daycare. Top Dog is located on Highway 43 South, just 4 miles from Bells Fork, and features a comfortable, healthy environment and a spacious facility for daycare and a brand new, beautiful facility for training. Call 752-8215 or visit TopDogOnline.com.
Come on out Highway 43 South to Top Dog Academy, where we know dogs.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best small town.
Join the show, 252-561-TALK. News and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in, and take a look at your weather forecast tonight. Partly cloudy, mostly clear though. A low around 73, and tomorrow and Wednesday more the same that we've had today, except there's a better chance of afternoon showers. Highs in the low 90s, lows at night in the low 30s, low to mid 30s. Chance of rain Tuesday night and Wednesday about 40%. Tomorrow about 30%. President Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, today wouldn't say whether Biden planned on staying the course with the August 31st deadline for withdrawing from Afghanistan. Sullivan was asked earlier today whether the administration needs the Taliban's support to extend the deadline. Quote, as I said, we're engaging with the Taliban, consulting with the Taliban on every aspect of what's happening in Kabul right now, Sullivan said, was happening at the airport on how we need to ensure there is facilitated passage to the airport for American citizens, SIVs, and third country nationals, and so forth. However, the Taliban says, we don't have any idea what you're talking about. The Taliban says, nobody's talked to us about extending the deadline.
I'm afraid it's going to get ugly before it gets better because, you know, I mean, just think if you've got some of these fractions of the Taliban that maybe they may think they have central leadership, but they may not. And all it takes is a couple of shoulder-fired rockets.
Bingo.
And it's bad in a hurry.
And how many billions of dollars? Was it 80 billion? $80 billion worth of equipment that they have, that the Americans left there. I mean, you talk about malfeasance and incompetence. $80 billion worth of Black Hawk helicopters, tanks, guns. Unbelievable.
I think they have more Black Hawk helicopters, I read, than any country in the United Nations outside of the United States, the Taliban.
I'm sorry, this malfeasance is beyond the pale.
And I don't buy... You know, everybody's blaming Biden, and you know, Biden's, you can blame him for anything because he doesn't know what's going on. But I'm not buying the fact that they were surprised.
No.
We have the most advanced security system in the world, the National Security Agency and Reconnaissance Agency and everything that we're watching. They knew what was going on. I'm something, you know, maybe the military leaders behind the scenes, I mean, there's memos now surfacing that, you know, they told Joe Biden everything, but that's what happens when you have an empty suit in the Oval Office.
Well, since you brought that up, yesterday on Fox News Sunday, Blinken, the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, was on with Chris Wallace. I'm not a Chris Wallace fan, but I'll give him kudos that he asked some direct, in-your-face questions, and basically, you know, he asked, does the president know what's going on? This is cut 2, Clark.
Here's another statement that the president made that was flat wrong. Take a look.
I have seen no question of our credibility from our allies around the world. I've got the exact opposite thing is we're acting with dispatch. We're acting, committing to what we said we would do.
But Armin Laschet, the likely successor to German Chancellor Merkel, said this is the biggest debacle that NATO has seen since its foundation. And here is the chairman of the British Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee.
To see their commander-in-chief call into question the courage of men I fought with, to claim that they ran, it's shameful. Those who have never fought for the colours they fly should be careful about criticizing those who have.
Mr. Secretary, does the president not know what's going on?
This is an incredibly emotional time for many of us, and including allies and partners who've been shoulder to shoulder with us in Afghanistan for 20 years at high cost to themselves as well as to us. They stood with us after 9/11. Invoked Article 5 of NATO for the first time. An attack on one is an attack on all. And we've been there together. But I've got to tell you this, Chris. From the get-go, I've spent more time with our NATO partners in Brussels virtually from before the president made his decision to when he made his decision to every time since. We've been working very, very closely together. We've gotten the G7 together, NATO together, the UN Security Council together. We had 113 countries, thanks to our diplomacy, put out a clear understanding of the Taliban's requirements to let people leave the country.
Respectfully, look, I'm not questioning whether or not the allies have a right to complain. I'm not questioning whether or not al-Qaeda has a presence. The president said al-Qaeda is gone. It's not gone. The president said he's not heard any criticism from the allies. There's been a lot of criticism from the allies. Words matter, and the words of the president matter most.
And please note Tony Blinken not answering the question.
You know, if only you could have one of these little cartoons above his head. I mean, I'm sure he's sitting there saying, "Of course, President Biden doesn't know what's going on, but I'm going to tell you something else and not answer the question."
DC double talk. and as you mentioned, consider the other statements that he's made over the last few days. Biden has. A, his administration planned for every contingency. Obviously not true. The current rapid collapse was unforeseen. No. There was cables going back into the spring saying this thing is falling apart. In early July, when he shut down the air base over there on July the 5th, people were saying, why are you doing this? This is not good. Al-Qaeda is gone from Afghanistan. Patently untrue. His own State Department has acknowledged that. Our alliances and credibility have not been negatively impacted by this fiasco. I mean, the clips you just heard, Exhibit A. Americans who want to get out of Kabul are able to do so. And by the way, Joe Biden has done something that no other American president in recent history has been able to do. CBS News poll. CBS has the way the United States removed troops gone badly? Has the way the Biden administration has handled the Afghanistan thing, has it gone badly? Joe Biden has finally united the American people, no matter what your party affiliation. 74% say yes overall, 74% yes. The way they've done it has gone badly. Democrats, 62%. Independents, 76%. Republicans, 87%. So a majority in all parties recognize this has gone badly.
I don't know how that can be less than 95%,
yeah, really.
Actually. I mean,
especially from Republicans. I mean, are you telling me that there's 13% of Republicans that actually think it's gone well?
Maybe Mitt Romney. Let's see. No. You know, also, the thing that confuses me, I mean, anyone that's being honest with themselves, Democrat or Republican or Independent, knows that Joe Biden really clearly does not know what's going on. I mean, he just does not. I'm not being mean.
No, his cognitive skills.
It's just the facts. But I don't understand how his staff, because everything he's saying is prepared. I mean, he's not really answering any questions.
Right. Or is his staff that dumb? I guess apparently so.
But he makes statements that are directly contradicts what his own people,
yes.
Secretary of State, Defense Secretary, and the key generals. I mean, he contradicts them within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And these are written statements. This is not just some.
Yeah, you guys might want to coordinate.
Not just his typical Biden, mess ups that he's had his entire political career, but these are prepared statements that's going on. So, I don't know. It's really alarming to me.
Another bizarre thing that has come out is that apparently the State Department has emailed an attachment to hundreds, if not thousands, of Afghanis with fill-in-the-blank visas. Do you see this? They've sent out this attachment. It looks like an official visa, except there's no name on there. There's no serial number either. Now, but there are going to be all kinds of Afghanis, and look, the Taliban is stealing the passports of Americans. But now they want to have total chaos. And look, I'm in agreement that those Afghanis that have helped us as interpreters, I want to see those men and their families get here. But this idea that, hey, we're going to take your word for it, we've got to vet these people, because with the thousands that want to come over here, there's going to be all kinds of jihadists infiltrated in their midst.
Well, it's like a Afghanistan war veteran was on here last week. I don't remember what I was watching, but he said, I served there. I served side by side with an Afghani for 2 years, and that Afghani ended up leading me into a explosive device. So you could even our troops serving with them are not sure, who's on their side and not. It's just it's some danger coming up on this, that's for sure.
Well, just a couple hours ago, Peter Doocy, as far as I know, Peter Doocy is the only one in these White House press briefings that actually ask pertinent questions. He asked, this is cut 3, Clark, He asked, does the president have a sense that most of the criticism is not leaving Afghanistan? It's the way he has ordered it to happen by pulling out troops before getting these Americans who are now stranded. Does he have a sense of that? Here is the response. Here's Peter's question and the response.
Does the president have a sense that most of the criticism is not of leaving Afghanistan, it's the way that he has ordered it to happen by pulling the troops before getting these Americans who are now stranded? Does he have a sense of that?
First of all, I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not. We are committed to bringing Americans who want to come home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are stranding Americans in Afghanistan when we have been very clear that we are not leaving Americans who want to return home. We are going to bring them home, and I think that's important for the American public to hear and understand.
Well, first of all, Peter Doocy didn't accuse you of stranding Americans, but he said Americans who are now stranded, and they are stranded. But why do they keep saying the Americans that want to come home? I cannot imagine that there are any Americans over there that don't want to come home.
Yeah, and President Biden, someone needs to remind that Ms. Psaki that President Biden, in his first statement, said that, hey, we're not going to be able to get you out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, as you said,
I mean,
the rhetoric changes from hour to hour, but certainly from day to day it changes big time. But, you know, this whole idea that they want to come home, is this the Jen Psaki, Joe Biden get out of jail free card where if they don't get them all home, well, I guess they didn't want to come home. I guess they wanted to stay there. Doocy later asked Psaki whether Americans being beaten up by the Taliban and the Afghans passing babies over barbed wire fences was what Joe Biden meant when he said America is back. What the president meant, she said, is that we're going to continue to lead in the world, including being leaders in evacuating not just our Afghan partners, not just American citizens, but also our allies, Psaki said. Well, you know what? The French and the Brits are out in the highways and byways of Kabul getting their people. The Americans aren't. They could, and they would, and they should. But so far, Joe Biden has said, no, don't. Jen Psaki, and wow.
Well, you got to give it to Psaki. She's got a tough job.
She does.
And she's actually doing pretty good by, just from the pure fact that...
what she has to deal with, what she has to work with.
Yeah. But, you know, if she had an honest press, her job would be even tougher if she had an honest press.
So yesterday afternoon... Cousin Eddie comes on about 4:15, and it was showcased as an update from the president on what's going on in Afghanistan. Did you by chance see it? Mm-hmm. I was in the living room, and the TV was on. I was getting ready to go out, and I stayed and listened to the president. It was bizarre. I mean, here we have how many? At least 10,000. Some estimates are much, much higher than 10,000. And Uncle Joe, spends the first 10 minutes talking about this tropical storm that's coming into Rhode Island.
A little misdirection again.
And I mean, that was bad enough that instead of talking about Afghanistan, well, it's very important. You need to be careful and you need to get out of harm's way. But you also need to make sure you're wearing a mask. I kid you not. And he is getting all kinds of flack on that now. When you're fleeing the hurricane or the storm, make sure you got a mask on.
Don't forget your mask.
I'm waiting for him to send out advice to those being lined up to be taken prisoner or shot by the Taliban. Make sure you put your masks on when you're marched out of town from Kabul with the Taliban. And, hey, for that matter, Joe, why don't you remind the Taliban? Of course, they usually do wear masks, right? They usually have their face covered. So
that will be in the official hurricane preparedness kit is a mask.
A new poll out by NBC. You know, these polls are not, this is not from some conservative organization. That one I told you a second ago was from CBS. This next one from NBC, not good for Cousin Eddie. We'll be right back.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Hey, this is Hank Hinton back here at Full Service Flooring in Winterville. I'm here today with Corey Little, who's the operations manager here at Full Service Flooring. Corey's been here 6 months, but you've been in construction a long time. Tell us about what you do here at Full Service Flooring.
Yeah, I got over here about 6 months ago. I've been in construction for, like I said, a little over 20 years, and I've known Tim for a long time now, and he's brought me over here to see what new kind of things I can bring to the store and to our customers. And I'm in charge of scheduling, and I don't know what else. I'm in charge of everything. It seems like we work together as a team and try to pull it all together. I might do a measure one day and do a commercial floor the next day, but we just kind of all work together and pull it all together at one time.
So what's new in flooring? What is the hot new thing?
The hot new thing's LVP or LVT, depending on what you're looking for, which look you're looking for. It's a waterproof product. It's absolutely fantastic. You can't really beat it.
A lot cheaper than hardwoods?
It is definitely a cost-effective alternative to hardwoods, yes, sir.
So, Corey, how is business right now?
And business is good. Despite the pandemic, we're still seeing a lot of new customers in the store, and we get an opportunity to introduce our products in a lot of different situations right now.
Corey, you've got a lot of experience in the construction industry. How is that helping you here with people, helping people with flooring here at Full Service Flooring?
Sure. I try to take the experiences that I've gained over my time in construction to help apply that to the flooring, whether it be with what the structure is made out of, the subfloor that we're going over top of, or maybe even just how it coordinates with your kitchen cabinets in construction or in your bathroom and how the tub and everything all ties together.
And a customer can just come here and see you anytime?
Absolutely. We're here 6 days a week, and we just love to see a new customer in here anytime. They can always call us and schedule something with us so that we can make sure we have our time allotted for them.
Corey, thank you so much. That's Corey Little here at Full Service Flooring. Come see these guys. They're on Tilco Drive in Winterville, 756-9308 and fullserviceflooring.com.
A collection of question marks.
There's a lot of questions. Why? How?
No logic, no reason, no explanation. Just a prolonged nightmare.
Worst nightmare of their lives.
This long nationwide nightmare.
We'll start collecting clues as to the whys, the whats, and the wheres.
Neighborhood by neighborhood. Literally knocking on doors.
This is your worst nightmare.
The nightmare.
It would be a nightmare.
Worst nightmare.
We will not end the nightmare. We'll only explain it.
Explain to us.
Because this
is News and Views with Tom and Benny on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. Before we get to that NBC poll, had a young lady call who wanted to know why we say that Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization. And if it's not hard, just go Google Patricia Kohlers, who is the founder of Black Lives Matter. And, for the longest time, they identified on the Black Lives Matter website that they were Marxist. It was a Marxist organization. But you can find video of her acknowledging that they're avowed Marxist.
Yep.
So it's not hard. I mean, I think this one young lady that called, a woman that called in, I don't know how young she was. She wouldn't come on the air with us, but it's that doesn't come from us. That doesn't come from our bias. That comes right from their website and right from the mouth of the founder of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I'm just repeating what they said they were, and their website was clearly labeled as that. Until they got enough heat, they washed that website clean of that. But the video's still out there. Just look up Patrice Kohlers, and she says we're trained Marxists. So
there you go.
There you go.
And critical race theory, which is what Black Lives Matter is all about, and all this critical theory is, vetting one group against another, and that's exactly what Black Lives Matter does. But that's right out of the communist playbook.
Yep. Plain and simple.
Town Hall's reporting on a poll conducted by NBC News that found that Joe Biden's approval rating among independents tanked and the congressional preference increased in favor of Republicans. This is really interesting. From April till now. This poll just came out. It took place from the 14th to the 17th. Just came out today. There is a swing in Congress by 15 points. The Democrats dropped 14 points. They were up 14 in April. They are now the Republicans are up 1. So a 15-point swing there, but it's even worse for Joe. The poll, which took place, as I said, August 14th through the 17th, in the midst of the Afghanistan fiasco, showed President Biden's approval rating amongst independents down 15 points. That is from April. His handling of the coronavirus down 30 points. Congressional preference among independents swung 15 points in favor of Republicans. In NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday, Chuckles Todd the Clown, discussed the findings of the poll and how independents could decide the fate of future elections. Here's the thing. In this poll, the sample of independents was 15%. My hunch is there are a lot more than 15% of the voting population that would identify as independents right now.
Oh, I think so. I mean, it's clear with new voter registration.
And I don't know what the actual numbers say, but I would think 15% is significantly low. Mm-hmm. I would think independents are pretty close now to making up almost a third of the voting. And it's interesting, the Democrats, some of the independents are going to come from the Democratic Party, but they are probably the Democrats that were voting with Republicans, at least on national issues, already. There are a lot of Republicans that have gotten so fed up with the Republican Party that they have gone independent as well. But,
and that's the Republican Party's fault.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, look, I'm still a Republican, but boy, I've thought long and hard about switching out. But anyway, shift among independents. President Biden's approval overall, now 46%. In April, it was 61%. On the economy, it is now 45%. In April, it was 60%. COVID-19, it is now 52%. In April, it was 81%. Congressional preference, Republicans are now up by 1. Back in April, Democrats were up by 14.
Yeah, and President Biden claims he didn't see these polls, so he's either forgetting, lying, or his staff's not giving him the information. I could believe either, actually.
Did you see Kamala Harris over the weekend? Mm-hmm. Now, she is headed out to Vietnam and the Philippines. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only thing, now, why would you go to Vietnam? I mean, especially when everybody's talking about the comparison to getting out of Kabul and getting out of Saigon was so similar. The only thing I can come up with is, right now, one can only assume that the White House has their hands full, completely overwhelmed with trying to handle Joe and watching what he says. And perhaps the White House staff got together and said, look, we can't hardly handle Joe. We know we can't handle Joe and Kamala. Can we please send her to the furthest place on the other side of the earth? And they said, yeah, send her to Vietnam. That's about the only thing I can come up with. But Kamala Harris gets off a plane, and there is a reporter that shouts a question out to her concerning the situation over in Afghanistan. Now, she hears the question. She cuts off the reporter, but we're talking about the biggest disaster with tens of thousands of Americans' lives hanging in the balance. And listen to what Chuckles the Clown says. Cut 1.
What's your response to reports of Americans? Hold on. Slow down, everybody. I want to talk about two things. First, Afghanistan. We couldn't have a higher priority right now, and in particular, our priority is making sure that we safely evacuate American citizens, Afghans who worked with us, Afghans at risk, including women and children, and that is one of our highest, if not the highest priority right now.
Yeah. So the first thing she does is come out with her cackling laugh.
We couldn't have a higher priority, but I'm getting ready to get on a plane and go to Singapore.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'm
What a yeah. Pathetic. It is pathetic. We'll be right back.
Got a trade? Now's the time. Greenville Toyota. Never in history has your trade been worth more. Get paid today. Then get a new Toyota hot off the delivery truck. Hurry before they're gone. Like Camry's $199 a month. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Anything could happen ever since I met you. Let me take you dancing.
Introducing Pepsi Mango.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
This one's for everyone who spends the amount of time it would take to watch a movie, agreeing on which movie to watch. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Toyota shoppers, now's the time at Greenville Toyota. Shipments of factory fresh Toyotas are arriving daily and being sold almost immediately. Like Corollas for $189 a month. Get yours before they're gone. Now's the time. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
And this programming notes, on Wednesday, we're going to have Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson in studio with us for a good portion of the program. He's got to go to an event in the Greenville area, but he will be with us at least for the first 30 minutes of our program on Wednesday afternoon. Town Hall is reporting that it's a op-ed by Michael Brown, who writes, I like Michael Brown's writing, but he is reporting on the fact and his opinion on the fact that in Loudoun County, Virginia, which is the trans CRT capital of the world, not only have they removed male and female signs from the bathrooms, but they are now in the process of removing urinals from the boys' rooms because biological females who identify as males are offended by the presence of urinals. Now, isn't that interesting? I mean, wouldn't you look if you think you're a guy, I mean, in the history of urinals, have you ever heard of a biological male being offended from by a urinal? I mean, we usually look for them when we go in, right?
Yeah, pretty good invention, I think.
Yeah, and I think most guys would say the same. And yet, we have in Loudoun, Virginia, they're ripping out the urinals because biological girls who think they're males. I mean, look, if you can't pee standing up, then stay with your own gender. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but, you know, if you try to do it standing up and it goes down your leg, something's wrong. I'm just saying. Yes, Tom has gone to a new low. I know.
I'm going to start talking equipment in a minute.
Anyway, I mean, this is nuts. But yet, the school policy 8040, which states Loudoun County Public School staff shall allow gender-expansive or transgender students to use their chosen name, their given their gender pronouns that reflect their gender identity without any substantiating evidence, regardless of the name and gender recorded in the student's permanent educational record. So basically, all you got to do, and it doesn't matter how young you are. I mean, you can be in kindergarten and say, I'm a little girl, rip out the urinals. How many thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars is this going to cost the county?
And what the heck does this have to do with education when
Nothing.
They talk about they don't have enough money and they're doing such nonsense as this? Good grief.
By the way, Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott are getting thumbs up because, while liberal Democrats and our media here in this country is giving them a hard time about not masking anybody and everybody, interesting, over in Europe, in a number of countries over in Europe, they're saying it makes no sense at all to make kids under the age of 15 wear a mask. And what we're finding out from these studies is that it not only makes no difference, but in some cases it's actually better for the kids, at least their psyche, not have to wear a mask day in and day out. Yeah. Hey, we're going to run. We'll do it again tomorrow at 5. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.
Anything could happen ever since I met you.
Introducing Pepsi Mango.